Hello viewers, myself Dr. Manish Trivedi from School of Sciences. In School of Sciences from IGNOU, one program has already been established and now on offer, that is Postgraduate Diploma in Applied Statistics. So this descriptive statistics, which is the topic of today's discussion, is one of the subject, or you can say one of the course of this program. So this program has already been on offer from January 2015, and there are 7 theory courses and 2 lab courses in this program. So now the second course, descriptive statistics course, we have now introduced here for discussion. Before discussing the descriptive statistics title, first of all we have to go for the statistics, the subject. That is statistics, as you know that every subject has its own origin, development stages, scopes, uses and limitations as disciplines. So statistics has also its own origin, development stages, its uses, scopes and limitations. Statistics is a very old science, having sound techniques of even handling huge data and providing valuable conclusion developed through ages. Statistics find its application in almost every sphere of human activities such as economics, commerce, management, information technology, education, planning, banking, insurance sectors, medical science, biology, industrial, agricultural and market research. If we talk about the origin of this statistics as in subject, so the word statistics seems to have derived from the Latin word status, or German word statistic, or Italian word statistica, where the statistica means a person who deals with the affairs of state. In ancient times, government or the rulers, they always collect the data of their people or residents in their states for their own purposes, for preparation of the bar, how much the collection of the emoluments and the how they collect the money from them. So this was generally that dealing of affairs of state. Now we come to the definition of the subject. As we talked about that the statistics is a very old and a very broad aspect, having the broad aspect of subject in science. So there are, by the ages, there are many definition has been given from the renowned statistician and scientists regarding the statistics. Statistics are the numerical statements, facts in any department of inquiry placed in relation to each other, that is said by the Professor A.L. Bowley. By the Professor Yule and Kendall, it is said that by statistics we mean quantitative data affected to a marked extent by multiplicity of causes. Professor Boddington, he said that statistics is a science of estimates and probabilities. Some more definitions has been given. Now we can brief or comprehend the definition of statistics as statistics is a branch of science which deals with collection, classification, tabulation, analysis and interpretation of data. Now we can talk about the functions of statistics, how it works and how it is useful and having the application in a different aspect of life. When we have the so many numbers, so the statistics helps in expression of facts in numbers, simple representation. If the data is in a huge quantity, the numbers are very large, so it reflects or represent the whole quantity or the values in a simple presentation, enlarges individual knowledge and experience. It compares facts through its different statistical tools, facilitates policy formulation. It helps other science in testing their laws, and it helps also in forecasting on the basis of the previous data or records. Now we have the statistics as a subject, and they are the two aspects of the subject statistics by handling the data. There are the two aspects, namely descriptive statistics and inferential statistics. Descriptive statistics we are discussing over here, and the second aspect is the inferential aspect, that is inferential statistics, which deals with the inferential aspect of the data or the information. The descriptive statistics is the term given to analysis of data that helps us to describe, show or summarize data in a meaningful way. Descriptive statistics are very important because if we simply represent our raw data, it would be hard to visualize what the data is showing, especially if here are a large number of values or information in the data. Descriptive statistics therefore enable us to represent the data in a more meaningful way, which allows simpler interpretation of the data. In this descriptive statistics, when we are discussing over here, so we'll discuss some points. First of all, we'll discuss the data and types of data, then the method of collection of data, frequency distribution, classification and tabulation of data, diagrammatic and graphical representation of data, and then the analytical part we come over there as measure of central tendency and measure of dispersion as a tool of statistics. Now, first of all, we talk about the data. What is the data? Accordingly, if we say that if we see that data play a role of raw material in statistical investigation. If we have the information, any kind of information for any particular commodity, that is known as the statistics. We can define here the data as the values of different objects collected in a survey or recorded values of an experiment over a time period taken together constitute what we call data in statistics. Each value in the data is known as observation. So each value, particular value, is known as an observation. Statistical data based on the characteristic, nature of characteristics, level of measurement, time and base of obtaining. We can have different kind of data based on the different aspects. Based on characteristics, if we see here, so we have the two type of data, quantitative data and qualitative data. The quantitative data, if we collect the information on the basis of a variable which has the quantitative nature, so this kind of data is known as the quantitative data. For example, if we have a population and we are finding out or collecting the information regarding the age of the student in a particular class. So this kind of data collected through the variable age comes under the quantitative data. Now the second one is qualitative data. Qualitative data, that is the characteristic or qualitative attribute which cannot be calculated or cannot be counted. So in that way it can be measured whether this quality is presence or absence in a particular commodity or observation or the person. So if we collect the information based on the qualitative attribute, then it comes under the qualitative data. Now the second aspect, that is the nature of characteristics. The nature of characteristics, on the basis of that one, if we find out here, then there are the two kind of data, discrete data and continuous data. Discrete and continuous form of data, that comes under the quantitative data also. So in discrete data, if we collect the information with respect to the variable or on the basis of the variable which has a discrete kind of nature. So this is the discrete kind of. When we collect the information in terms of the variable which has the discrete nature, that means the information or the observation will come in a countable numbers. So there is no value will come in between the two values like that, 2.34, 6.89 like that. Okay, so the values will be come in 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. For example, if we collect the information regarding the number of children in a particular colony residing the different families. So in that term, the number of children in a house may be 0 or 1 or 2 or 3 like that in a countable numbers, not in terms of the 2.3 or 1.79. Now the continuous data, the second one, if the data is collected through or on the basis of the variable which has the continuous kind of nature, that means the values can be taken, the variable will take the values in between some two limits of values. For example, if we collect the information regarding the temperature or height or weight of the students in a class, so in that manner the values will come under the continuous kind of values. That means the maximum temperature or minimum temperature that will be in the point or point Celsius, or the height will come from 156 inches or centimeter to 172 centimeters. So then it may be assumed that any candidate or any student can acquire or can have the height in between the any value between the 156 centimeter to 172 centimeter. So that is a kind of continuous data. Now based on the base of collection, we have the two type of data, that is primary data and secondary data. Primary data, the data which are collected by an investigator or agency or institution for a specific purpose, and these people are first to use these data are called the primary data. For example, any student who is doing the research and he is taking the observation in a laboratory by some particular experiments, he is getting the observations from that and he is using that observations or the information or the data for his own use. So that is known as the primary data. Secondary data, the data obtained or gathered by an investigator or agency or institution from a source which already exists are called the secondary data, and this kind of data can be used after the collection by an other agency, other person, and it is used by the other one or the other person. So this is the secondary data. Now we can discuss some methods here of collecting the primary data. So there are the 6 different methods of collecting the primary data. The first one, personal interview method. Personal interview method, that the investigator personally contacts the informants and collects the related data or the information through face-to-face interviews of the informants. Due to face-to-face interview or meeting to investigator, the informant's data collected under this method has maximum degree of accuracy, because the data who is collecting the investigator is sitting in front of the informants from which the person from which the information is gathering. This method of collection of primary data is recommended or suitable when field of inquiry is small. Secrecy related to data is also needed. High accuracy is required and time as well as the money is sufficient. Second method of collection of data, that is the telephonic interview method. In direct personal investigation method, investigator has to personally contact with the informants, but nowadays telephone is a very good communication tool. So in that case, if the information of the interest is collected through telephone, then data so obtained come under telephonic interview method. Third method, it is the indirect oral interview method. In this method, investigator does not meet to the actual informants directly, but the related information is collected or obtained from other person who are supposed to have the required type of information. The informants who provide the information about actual informants are known as witness. The success of this method mainly depends upon the skill and experience of investigator, because it depends upon the way, sequence and trick of questions prepared and asked by the investigator from the informants. It also depends on the behavior and how much he or she is capable to create confidence in the informant. This method is applicable or suggested to apply for any kind of investigation regarding any happening or murder cases or accidental cases. Now the third one is local correspondence method. First of all, some local correspondents or agents are appointed by the investigator or agency or the institute to collect the data in that area from where the information has to be gathered. These local agents directly meet to the informants and collect data related to the required purpose in hand. The data collected by these local agents have high degree of accuracy because they are familiar with the local language, tradition, general behavior of people, etc. of the particular area from where the data has to be collected. This method of collection of primary data is suitable if the area of investigation is large. For example, the news channels have their reporters throughout the India for collecting the information. Time period in which the information is needed is very short. For example, the news related to the happening of any special incident can be easily seen on the news channel in very short time period after it's happening. Information is needed on regular basis. The news are provided daily using this method, and the updates we are getting day to day what is happening in the world. The fourth method of collection the primary data is mailed questionnaires method. First of all, the list of questions related to the information required by the investigator is prepared. After preparing the final list of questions, that is known as the questionnaire, it is sent through mail to the informants. This method is suitable when the informants are literate and area of investigation is large. Now we have talked in this mail questionnaire method about the questionnaires. So we can talk about the questionnaires also. So while preparing such list of questions for gathering the data, that is known as the questionnaire, the following points should be keep in mind. The first one is the number of questions should not be too many, so that the person from whom you want to gather the information be exhausted by answering the so many number of questions. Each question should be related directly or indirectly to the objectives of the investigation. So every information filled by the informants should be used and applicable for your investigation. Each question should be clear so that the answer may be given in a clear-cut manner and suitably. Generally, objective type questions should be used, but if necessary, multiple choice and open-end questions can also be used in some cases. Language should be simple and effective. The fifth method is the schedules method for collecting the information or the primary data. First of all, a list of questions based on the information to be required is prepared like mailed questionnaire method known as schedule. After doing this, whole area of investigation is divided into sub areas. Then a number of people are appointed to collect the information directly from informants. Appointed people who are known as the enumerators. The exact figure of the enumerator to be appointed depends upon the area of investigation and the amount of information to be required. If the area of investigation is large, then the number of enumerator will be large, and if the area is small, then the number may be reduced. These enumerator meet with the informant face to face, and after giving a brief introduction about the objective of the investigation, they ask answer of each question listed in the schedule, where the schedule has the number of questions to be asked and to gather the information. The answer provided by the informants are filled up in the schedule by enumerator themselves. It is not filled by the informants. Now we come to the secondary data. The secondary data, there are the, as we have discussed, that the secondary data is already existed information which has been collected through primary data. So this is available in two type of sources: published sources and unpublished sources. When an institution or organization published its own collected data, that is primary data, in public domain, either in printed form or in electronic form, then these data are said to be secondary data in published form or unpublished form. The sources where these data are available is known as the published sources. Unpublished sources, if collected information in terms of the data or observed through own experiences by an individual or by an organization which is in unpublished form, is known as the unpublished source of secondary data. For example, the records and statistics maintained by different institutions or organizations, unpublished project works, field works, or some other research related works, records of Central Bureau of Investigation, personal diaries of particular persons. After collecting the data, the collection of data is completed, then we have to classify the data in different aspects, in categories. So if published, we have gathered the information from the different sources, it needs to be classified according to the different characteristics and the different criteria involved in that particular information. So classification means grouping of related facts into different classes. Information in one class differs from the other class with respect to some characteristics. Broadly, the data can be classified under following categories. First category is geographical classification. The geographical classification, we classify the data or divided into classes on the basis of the characteristics, that is location or region in a particular segments. So for example, if the production of wheat or sugarcane or any commodity can be classified for a particular year for the different 4 regions, that is eastern region, northern region, southern region and western region. While classifying through the geographical classification, you need to keep in mind that the characteristics or the region should be classified according to the ascending or descending order in terms of the magnitude of the commodity, either that one or in a alphabetical order in the region name. The second one is chronological classification. That chronological classification of the information can be done on the basis of the period of time. The time series data is generally classified according to the chronological classification on the basis of the different time period. While classifying the chronological data, we divide or classify the data according to the year in a ascending order, starting from the previous one and the up to the latest one. So we summarize up to this session whatever we have discussed here. We have started with the definition and scope and origin of the statistics subject. Then we come to the classification, collection of the data and type of data, their method of collection and the classification. Thank you.